Alright, how's it going, guys? So I've been kind of playing around with the idea of doing this for a little while, and I eventually just said, you know what, hey, let's just go for it, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going for it, we're going for it. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Matthew. I run the Block Survival, I guess, Hangout, Discord community, but a fair bit of in-game knowledge. I may not be the best of the game, but I spend a lot of time researching kind of the statistics, the playstyle, the game mechanics. That's kind of really the most enjoyment I get out of games is kind of doing a lot of research and getting kind of the raw numbers and looking at things like that. And in all honesty, I haven't seen very many. Actually, I don't think I've seen. Yeah, I haven't seen very many at all. Kind of guide videos. So I thought I'd take my crack at it. So this is just a few kind of opinions that I have. Like I said, I don't know if I've said it, just that opening rant, but it's for the game block. Yeah, I did. So it's for the game Block Survival. So if by some reason you're watching this and you have no idea what I'm talking about, highly recommend checking the game out. I'll leave the link to the Discord in the description if you are interested. Although I'm pretty sure the majority of people watching this are going to be coming directly from the Discord. So that's probably an exercise in futility just saying all that. But I'm going to be talking about Bernice today, and Bernice, in all honesty, he's one of the most versatile characters in the entire game in terms of abilities, playstyle, weapon mastery, and kind of effective weapon routes that he's able to take. So Bernice, like in the lore, he's a hunter, and his lore fits really well into the game because he really excels in weakening and tracking down, hunting down his prey, the things that he's hunting for. Basically being other players. So he's really good at that. He's really excels at that. His abilities kind of complement that, and his stats complement that as well. He's got a really nice stat distribution. He's got the highest armor stat actually in the game, which is really cool, like the highest max armor, which is really cool. He's got really good other stats as well, pretty decent stamina, pretty decent health, pretty good attack as well, with high mastery in several different types of weapons, which is really cool as well. Adds to his versatility, adds to the options that he has available to him. Bernice is big. He's got them hands. He can take hits. He can swing them right back. He's a fun character. I like him a lot. I find him criminally underrated. Looking at the kind of usage statistics, not very many people use him, and I think like his win rates are really kind of skewed as a result of that. Like very few people use him, so if the few people who use him end up winning, then his his win rates look like crazy high. Like he does, like everyone looks, it's like, oh look, Bernice is good, and then if the few people using him like lose when they use it, then his win rates just plummet and he looks garbage. But like all his win rates are kind of really dictated by kind of how small the sample size is. This was brought up to me by someone else. As a matter of fact, when we were kind of looking at the win rates before, I just pointed out how like few people use Bernice and how that's basically that small sample size is kind of dictating kind of the fluctuation on the win rates. So really quickly, like talking about kind of his abilities, I mentioned about how versatile he is. Leg shot it's an incredibly useful tool. It's really good, boy. It's really good, but it's a really good tool it's a really good offensive tool rather to kind of work on your mastery. It can be used as a really good defensive tool as well to kind of scare people out of an area that you need to kind of farm, or just in general get the upper hand of a losing battle, which is pretty crazy. Like to be able to 1v1 a character with just an ability is a really cool thing. I guess a lot of abilities kind of do stuff like that, but like with leg shot, you can kind of effectively 1v1 pretty much the majority of the cast in the game, which is really cool. Kind of in a similar note, traps can be used kind of offensively and defensively as well. You can use it aggressively in hunting down players and building up mastery and just kind of ambushing players, which is pretty much the hardest thing. It's the hardest part about using Bernice, kind of effectively utilizing your traps offensively. But if you can do that, it's like incredibly powerful. Like you drop the trap and then you can ambush someone who sets it off. They step in the trap, they take that damage, and then right after they take that damage, they're going to be pretty much ambushed by you, which is it's really cool. And like 30 seconds is a long amount of time to have your area shown to someone else on the map. Like the tracking that you get from the hunting trap is just incredible. That's a long ass time that you can just follow somebody, which is it's really cool, to be honest with you. It can be used kind of defensively as well, not kind of as effectively as it is offensively, but you can use it kind of as a buffer if you need to kind of heal, if you need to reload, if you need to be doing a lot of stuff. If you go to an area, if you're afraid of being not tracked, sorry. If you're afraid of being followed, you can set up a trap, then you can start healing, then you can start I mean, obviously this isn't like the god tier strats, but like I'm just saying it's kind of a buffer region. It's a little bit of a buffer region. Don't get me wrong, but it is kind of a buffer region. It's really cool. It's a really good ability. Like the trap in general is just really good offensively and defensively. And like I said, it's the hardest part about Bernice's kit to utilize to its full potential. Like a lot of people don't use it to its full potential, and I think just the trap in general is just one of the best abilities to. If you can use it to its full potential, it's an incredibly powerful ability. Like in all honesty, it involves a lot of micromanaging, and this I think is one of the biggest weaknesses about Bernice is it involves a lot of micromanaging. So in terms of your inventory slot. So looking at Bernice, like I said, one of the biggest weaknesses, it comes down to kind of inventory slots and micromanaging your inventory. Because if you look at Bernice, he's gonna have to have one slot for his bullets, right, or arrows, or whatever you're gonna be using as your weapon, right. So you're gonna have a slot taken up for those, and then you're gonna have if you want to use traps to their fullest potential, which I think is something that a lot of Bernice players don't do, but I think it has a lot of potential. If you want to use traps to your full potential, you kind of have to have an inventory slot open for traps as well. And you can't just juggle items, which is something that you can kind of do for other, I guess, other abilities that give you an item. You can't really just juggle stuff because you can't drop an item, get your trap, set up your trap, and then pick up your item because you're going to step on your trap. So if you want to use traps, you actually have to have a slot open for it, which I mean, a lot of times you don't have it. You only call it in when you need it, right? But like if you want to use it, you can't have a full inventory, drop an item, call your trap, set it up, pick up your item again. So it's a little bit annoying in that sense because, like I said, you're always basically going to be 2 inventory slots down, which is really hard to do. And like I said, Bernice kind of he finds a lot of times in games that he's running out of items, running out of inventory stuff. And I think kind of this right here thing about running out of stuff is kind of why people think Bernice is kind of bad, I guess. Because, like, a lot of times you'll run out of an item because you're not micromanaging your inventory slots enough. So you'll run out of, like, health items, and then you'll put that down to, oh, Bernice can't take enough hits, so he's bad. When the problem is you don't have enough health recovery items. Or you'll run out of like stamina items, and you'll be like, "Oh God, Bernice just gets outpaced really quickly. Everyone does everything better and quicker, than Bernice, and Bernice is just always falling behind." When the issue is you don't have enough stamina items to kind of sustain yourself, to keep yourself going, to keep yourself building things. Or I guess on the final note is like you could be thinking that Bernice gets, like I said, I kind of mentioned about being outpaced, but kind of everyone builds everything quicker than me. Bernice doesn't have the tool set, the skill set, the kit to effectively build his build rather as quickly as any of the other characters. When the issue is you're not building multiple things at the same time. You're building one thing instead of 2 or 3 things at the same time because you don't have the item slots open to be able to accommodate the extra inventory slots that you need to get from one item to bring to a second item. Not to get items from one area to bring to a second area, I suppose. So I think all these kind of things people look at it and people don't look at the reasoning behind it, and they say because of those reasons Bernice is bad. And I mean, obviously, you need a lot of support for Bernice. If like I said, with these inventory slots, you have to be managing your inventory slots really well. And if you're not managing your inventory slots really well, you're going to run out of stamina items. You're going to run out of health items. You're not going to have enough inventory slots to build 2 things at the same time. So if you can't manage your inventory slots, for sure, yeah, Bernice is going to get outpaced. I completely agree with that. But I think for someone who can manage their slots, I think Bernice, like I said, is very slept on, I suppose. So I mean, I've been kind of battling a lot, but I want to really quickly touch up on his weaknesses and strengths, which I've kind of gone over really quickly. But he's got really good stat distribution. He's got the highest max armor stat in the game, which is incredible. He's really strong early in the game because guns are really strong early in the game, and guns build really quickly. Like, I guess I'll go into the guns in a little bit, but stuff like the AK is really quick to build. You build it in one area, 2 items, pick up both items in the same area, build it, and you've got an incredibly powerful gun within the first 30 seconds of the game, which is really good in all honesty. Leg shot, I kind of talked about leg shot before, but leg shot lets him 1v1 the majority of the cast in the game, which is, it's incredible. Like, it's an incredible ability, and it's just really good. Just take my word for it, guys. And going over his weaknesses, I suppose, inventory management, huge weakness, as I mentioned. He can the inventory management kind of falls into the majority of his weaknesses, but he can be kind of bullied out of he can be bullied out of areas kind of if you catch him at the right time, if that makes sense. Um, all gun characters, I guess, follow this trait where like they can be bullied out really quickly because if you're caught reloading, then they're going to be getting in a lot of hits on you before you can start hitting them back, and when you start hitting them back, you're gonna have to start healing, and then you're reloading, you're healing, you're doing all this stuff, and all at the same time, you're giving your opponent basically mastery for free, which is horrible. You never want to be giving free mastery to anyone. So, like I said, if you're caught in a bad situation, then you can be bullied out of an area really, really easily. Another thing is, this doesn't really tie into inventory management at all, but he relies a lot on leg shot. Like I sing praises about leg shot, but Bernice relies on it a lot in order to effectively beat matchups he's supposed to effectively beat. So if leg shot's on cooldown, he's going to lose 1v1 to a lot of characters that he's supposed to beat 1v1. He's supposed to counter. Alright, so that's pretty much that. So now I'm going to kind of go over kind of what, or at least what I find is kind of effective items, effective armors, effective weapons to be using on Bernice in terms of kind of how easy they are to obtain, how out of the way you have to go to get them, stuff like that. So as I mentioned before, Bernice actually has he actually has a lot of leeway when it comes to weapon mastery. He's got really good gun mastery. Like 70 is actually really good. Like real talk, 70 is really good. He's got pretty good bow mastery as well, and he's got thrown mastery as well. I hate using thrown weapons. I could never use a throw character. I can never main a throw character. I'm sure there's a lot of people who enjoy it, and a lot of people who kind of have discovered the art of using thrown characters. And I'm sure those people could create a very effective route or a decent route, or I don't know. They could create something that's kind of very niche, where Bernice is kind of a thrown main, and kind of it's kind of to complement using thrown weapons and kind of armors you get, and the weapons you get and the items you get are going to be kind of complementing this path. But I got nothing for thrown weapons, man. I got nothing for here because I can't do thrown weapons, so I didn't even look into it. So guns and bows are in general kind of the biggest things for Bernice to use, and they're both really good weapons, and they both have a lot of really good routes, a lot of really good starting routes. Looking at guns kind of primarily, because like I said, he's got such a really good, stupid high gun mastery to start with. So looking at that, starting the beach is just a really, really good area. Leg shot plus your kind of overall stats, your stat spread, and just having guns early game in general lets you beat and bully out like I said, almost pretty much everyone in the game 1v1 if they try to meet you at the beach as well. So it's a very, very safe area to start, I find. And you get a lot of really good items. Like you can get the AK like in 30 seconds, which is really good. Then you get a pretty decent kind of armor item as well, right at the beginning. That being the diving suit, which upgrades really, really nicely in two different routes. I found it goes really nicely into the optical camouflage suit, which I personally prefer. I find it very, very quick to build, and I find you don't have to go out of the way at all to get this armor. Like if you're following a upgrade route for the AK-47, which I always do because I really like that weapon. It's very like you don't have to go out of the way at all to build the camo suit, which is really, really nice. The battle suit is kind of the other option that you can upgrade the diving suit into. And I find the battle suit is really nice. I find it more of a, I don't know, I find you have to go out of the way a little bit more to build that, and I find it's better in certain matchups. It's a lot better in certain matchups. Like if you're facing a lot of other gun characters, or if you know a specific gun character is going to screw you over because you know the username or something. The battle suit is just really good for that reason because bulletproof is a really, really, really cool ability as well. You have to kind of upgrade them differently, I think. Like if you want to go for the optical camo armor, the positron rifle is a really good route to go. It is a really good weapon to try to upgrade as you go because, like I said, it follows that path to a T. If you are trying to go with the battle suit, the Devil's Marksman is kind of cool because you use iron sheets for both, and you get 2 iron sheets, so you don't have to go too out of the way because you do have extra supplies from one of the weapons from the weapon that you can use over in the actual armor, which I find pretty cool in all honesty. When it comes to to armors, I suppose when it comes to armors, there's basically only one armor you're gonna want to use on Bernice, and I'd probably say this in all honesty for any ranged character. It's the Galaxy Watch. Galaxy Watch is amazing, and it's a really like it looks like it's complicated to build. And like when I first started playing the game, I looked at the Galaxy Watch. I was like, "Yo, that's gonna take ages to build." But like Galaxy Watch is really really quick to build. In all honesty, like it takes you no time. Like you can get a fully upgraded armor, you can get a upgraded weapon, and you can get Galaxy Watch and kind of measly armors on the outside, all before like the first Nightfall. Like you probably get more than that. In all honesty, I'm just kind of speaking, I guess, just in general, I suppose. But yeah, you can probably get more than that. But yeah, the Galaxy Watch is really really quick to build, and for what it looks like it looks like it would be kind of complicated because you've got like 3 or 4 separate steps that you have to go for, but it's really it's really strong. It's really really good. The extra accuracy is life saving. Like I could not go a game without getting the Galaxy Watch. It's just that good. Like unless you're getting like I don't know, unless you're finding like randomly like the heartbeat sensor really really early, then just get the Galaxy Watch. It's like it's incredible. It's incredible, dude. I always go for that. Well, I always go for that. I guess when it comes to head armors, there's a little bit of leeway, I suppose. The closed helm is really easy to build into. I find the closed helm is just nice to kind of build into. You can get the chain in a lot of different residential areas. You get the glasses at the factory, which you're going to be using to upgrade your guns if you're using the path, the camo path is what I'm trying to say. If you're going the battle suit way, you can get the hat at the school as well, which is a place that you can get the windbreaker. If that's the place that you want to be going, I suppose. There might be easier places to get the windbreaker, but you can get the hat and you can get the windbreaker at the school, unless you're just trying to get the camo suit at the lighthouse, which is awkward to get because there's only the one of them, I suppose. But yeah, the closed helm upgrades into kind of two nice options that you can go for. The tactical OBS helmet as well is kind of another option. I don't like using it that much because you have to make a lot of electronic parts and a lot of blueprints, and there's only so many pens, in all honesty, and I don't know. I don't like that idea as much because, like I said, like I don't like the idea of kind of the very limited. I don't like kind of basing my build off a lot of a very limited item when it comes to pens. Like I don't like basing it off having to get 2 pens, I suppose. Few other options though you can go as well. Like you can go the crown or the crystal tier, are both kind of cool options as well. So I guess in general I'll kind of go over the route that I use. It's not the route that I guess it's not like the tried and true. It's not like the only route that you can take, but it's a route I take and it's a route that I kind of like. So I like starting off at the beach. I find the beach is really nice. You can upgrade. You can make the diving suit right off the bat. You can get a magazine. You can get all your bullets, and you can upgrade to an AK within the first like 30 seconds, first minute of the game, which is really really nice. After getting the AK, getting the diving suit, getting bullets, obviously. I like to try to get a turtle shell if possible. If not, then what can you do? Then heading over to kind of the residential areas, I want to try to get stone and glass, and I want to make glass pieces as quickly as possible. I want to make recovery items as quickly as possible as well, without having to kind of stall for too long. So recovery items, and I want to be getting off a glass pieces as well. And then after that, I head over to the factory as quickly as I can. The factory is really cool because like the thing with the factory is there's not like it's not a heavily contested area like you'd expect the hospital or I guess other areas to be at different parts of the game. So not as many people go to there like all at once. It's usually like one person goes and then like you don't usually meet like 2 people at the factory. It's not usually that common, but factory gives you a upgrade from like it gives you an upgrade from your armor, and it gives you pretty much the full upgrade of your armor to the optical camo suit, which is really really nice. But it also gives you a gun upgrade to the it's the what is it, FRF2 I believe, because you make a sniping scope with a laser pointer and a telescope, and it gives you the upgrade to that, which is nice. So you now have a 43 base gun, which is really really nice. And then after that, you just have to build a positron rifle, which I usually put on hold for a few seconds because, like I said, I have heavy emphasis on the Galaxy Watch. So after that, I head over to the fire station and I get the ingredients to build the electronic parts. I had grabbed a wire, while I was at the factory, and with the wire, I get a battery from the fire station and a watch from the fire station. Um, and then I just have to go over to archery range, which is going to be giving me a hat, which, like I said, archery, the hat for building up the helm, closed helm. So you can get a hat from there. If you got glasses from the factory, then that's perfect. You'll have glasses. You might be able to get a feather from the archery range as well, which is going to upgrade your glasses and your feather. Um, into that, and then you'll be able to get the hat. And if you were in the residential area and you got a chain, then you'll be able to fully upgrade the helm right there, which is really, really nice. Archer range can also, the archer range will be giving you the thick paper for your watch, and then you just head somewhere, ideally the hospital, because the hospital will let you restock a little bit on recovery items. So ideally you go to the hospital, but if you get bullied out of the hospital, the school is there as well, and that's pretty much a fully upgraded Galaxy Watch right there. And then after that, you just need to upgrade your positron rifle to the fullest extent. Get leg gear if you can. If not, then just use basic gear, because like I said, the positron rifle and the Galaxy Watch and your clothes gear are going to be kind of the priority. And like I said, you'll have a helmet as well, which is really nice, which is really kind of nice. So that's the route I take, I suppose. And I think a lot of people look at routes wrong. Like, you can't look at a route and say, I'm going to choreograph every second of my game. You have to look at routes as kind of a flexible, you have to look at it as in a flexible sense as to where you go, when you go. You can't start, I mean, you can start in the same area, but you can't follow point A all the way to point, you can't follow step 1 all the way to step 5 or whatever, just the same every game, because you have to be flexible, you have to be reactionary, you have to react to the environment and what's happening. You have to build mastery as much as you can without being overly aggressive, of course, but you have to build mastery as much as you can, and you can't be doing that if you're just following a kind of step-by-step flowchart. So you have to be very flexible, you have to be very reactionary with stuff like that. And I guess really quickly, I want to kind of touch up on a few other weapon options that are options, but that I don't have specific routes planned out for them. But I think they're options, and I think they have potential as well to be pretty decent routes. So positron rifle is, of course, like I said, the route that I take. I think the TC Arms Contender is a decent option, but I don't like it because you have to start at the dock. But if you do start at the dock, I think the TC Arms Contender is a pretty decent weapon to choose for how quickly it is to upgrade, and that's yeah, it's basically that. And if you want to head over, if you're following a route that needs to go somewhere where there's iron ore, then it's just a win-win in that situation. I haven't seen very many builds with the TC Arms Contender, but I think if for some if you're following a build that starts with the dock, which I don't know, there's not very many that like starting the dock, but if you're following a build that starts with the dock, that's an option. Devil's Marksman follows a route that builds the battle suit, like I mentioned before. So if you're going for a battle suit, I think Devil's Marksman is kind of decent, especially because it lets you get your leg shot off guaranteed. Like, I think that's kind of a really, really cool thing, is having every 5th shot guaranteed land lets you get your leg shot off guaranteed, which is really, really nice. I think that's, like, really, really nice, in all honesty, because, like I mentioned before, one of the biggest weaknesses is the fact that you can freaking miss leg shot, and yeah, that's the thing. Someone had mentioned the Colt Anaconda, and of course I'm going to be bringing it up. The Colt Anaconda and the Holy Shotgun are both options for people who for people who are going to be going to the chapel. For people who want to go to the chapel and get kind of Crusader's armor or Pope's armor, which are both really pretty good armor sets. I think they're very quick to get. The Colt Anaconda and the Holy Shotgun are both, you get them both basically from the beach plus the chapel, and I think they're both decent. I think it depends on what you find first. I think if you're like, okay, I want to build a Colt Anaconda, and you pass a bunch of items that give you the Holy Shotgun, I think that's a mistake. So basically, yeah, I think, yeah, Colt Anaconda and Holy Shotgun are both very, very quick weapons to upgrade, but they don't upgrade really very further than that. I think they're very quick to upgrade, and they're pretty good. They're not extremely powerful in the late game, but in the kind of early game and the mid game, they're pretty decent weapons and pretty decent upgrades as well. Plasma Railgun as well was something that I've been looking at. I've been kind of playing around with the idea of it, and I don't think the Plasma Railgun's bad. I think it's kind of like, I don't know. I think the reason that, like, I don't like the Plasma Railgun is it uses a lot of items that you don't have a lot of time to get Well, not that you don't have a lot of time to get it, just basically it uses a lot of batteries. That's my biggest pet peeve. And it's going to be using 2 pens as well, which I hate doing because, like I said, you have to be using a pen to get your Galaxy Watch. So it's just annoying getting the pen. I mean, it's not impossible, and I think it's doable. I think it's doable, but I don't know. I don't like how many of the same item you have to be using. Like I guess you can farm like all the batteries you need in one sitting, which is kind of cool. In all honesty, it is kind of cool. But like the places where you get battery, you don't get like a whole lot of other items that you can like continuously use. I suppose. I think it's doable. I think the plasma railgun is doable. Um, I just haven't seen an effective route to capitalize on it, but I think it is doable. I really think it is doable. But I guess that's basically all I have to say, I suppose. I haven't really said too much, I suppose, but I think Bernice is slept on. I think Bernice is a pretty cool character, and yeah, I think he's actually really powerful. I like he's not like insanely good. Like I think he's definitely not bad, and I think a lot of people look at him and consider him as bad. But yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, so I guess thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys around.